Hello, everyone, and welcome to Climate Conversations. I'm your host, Kathy Yang, and today I'm here with Dr. Phiri. Dr. Phiri is an assistant professor at the National University of Science and Technology in Zimbabwe. He specializes in climate change and has researched and published on various topics like adaptation to global warming, marginalized communities, poverty, food security, and more. He is also a scientist ambassador at the Smithsonian's Science Education Center, um, and is also a Global Young Academy Fellow. Is there anything you want to add to your bio and description?
I think you've captured it quite well. So I've been in the academia, I think, almost now. This is my 16th year in the academia, working in the various universities as an educator, also as a patron for the youth climate movements, also as a researcher as well, and also as a moderator and rapporteur in international, regional, and local conferences. But mainly, my specialty, as you have said, is on climate change adaptation, how communities, youth, women, smallholder farmers are responding to climate change. So I research and do writings on that and policy propositions on how we can adapt to the ever-changing environment. And you have highlighted, I'm also a scientist ambassador, and was also asked as well to be I'm part of the Global Young Academy, which is based in Germany. And so I do annual conferences and also online meetings on various climate environmental issues. And I've also contributed to the Smithsonian Science Education as an editor, a contributor for the resilience guide, and recently I was asked to edit on the agricultural guide as well for the Smithsonian and science education as well. So this will be my second volume where I'm contributing as an editor and also copy editing the curriculum guide for the young people. So those are some of the activities that I'm involved in. Yeah.
Yeah, um, a few weeks ago, you actually gave a presentation to the CARP or like at Smithsonian, right, for the young students.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
Could you talk more about either your work at the Global Young Academy or Smithsonian? Like, do you work with other students? And like, why do you think working with the next generation and students is so important?
Well, it has always been my passion to work with young people in recognition that, in the world that we live in, whether you are not in North America, whether you are in Asia, whether you are in Europe, whether you are in Asia or any other part of the continent in the world, all of us are grappling with the effects of climate change, and climate change affects us differently. It can be in the form of floods, it can be in the form of droughts, famines, it can be in the form of water shortages, it can be in the form of raging firestorms that we see across the world. And so all of us are affected one way or the other in terms of our access to health, our access to clean water, our access to food, our mental health is affected by climate change. And so all of us, one way or the other, we have to talk about this problem because it's affecting all of us. It cuts across nations, it cuts across races, it cuts across all age groups, it cuts across all genders. And so one way or the other, what really triggered me to start action on climate change is I grew up in an environment um, where I was seeing a lot of poverty. I was seeing a lot of water shortages, and I felt while everyone is crying about these ever environmental challenges, I felt I needed to contribute to solutions, contribute to possible options to deal with the ravaging issues of climate change. So I started off back in 2013 with my first research article on livelihood stress, where I come from. We wrote an article, a research article, as a friend in Zimbabwe. And when we wrote that research article, it was used as a benchmark. It was used as a foundation to source funding from international organizations to fund food programs and water security programs in Malawi and Mozambique. So my little contribution surprised me because it ended up cutting across other countries. They used my writings as a form of advocacy for funding, advocacy for support. So my first article really inspired me. It added fire on me. And then from there I developed. Now I think I'm at my article number 35. And from that one, that triggered donations and technical support and financial support in my neighboring country, in Malawi and Mozambique. So that inspired me then not only to write, but also to mobilize young people. Back then, I was in a university called Lupane State University. I mobilized young people and I became the patron of young people where they will identify climate-related problems. And when they identify climate-related problems, then they started doing some poetry, they started doing some drama, they started doing some street campaigns in terms of doing some cleanup campaigns, dealing with the garbage, removing garbage from the streets, looking at a clean environment. They will do some tree planting projects. And then we had also some cultural interchange with Malawi, with South Africa, and we'll do some university students will also engage online with students in Ireland, in Europe. So it became sort of a movement and a passion for me. And then that led me to applying to organizations like the Global Young Academy, where I was involved as a researcher, as a speaker, as a conference speaker. And I've been traveling to countries like Canada. I've visited America so many times. I think I've done so far. There are over 20 states that I visited
Wow.
in America. I've been to Seattle, I've been to Idaho, I've been to Arizona, I've been to Kansas, I've been to Missouri, been to West Virginia, Washington, D.C., New York, Connecticut, San Francisco, California. I've
Wow.
forgotten some of the places, but
Yeah.
as as an Eisenhower Fellow,
Yes.
yeah. So I've gotten an opportunity to travel to almost all continents except South America. And I've been to India, I've been to the Middle East, as a presenter, as a motivator, as an encourager for young people to be involved because different geographic spaces have different challenges. Some relate to cutting down of trees, some relate to water issues, some relate to energy crisis as a result of climate change, and so on and so. So I got incorporated into these global groups as an advisor, as a teacher, as a scientist ambassador, as an editor, as a researcher, as a lecturer. So I enjoy my work because it brings satisfaction to me, and I can also inspire young people to act within their spaces, what is possible, just to inform and also be advocates in their own spaces.
Wow, what an impactful story and journey you have. Wow, so it all
Yes,
started from like an article that ended up impacting so many countries, and then you
yes,
just kept going from there. That's so inspiring, and it's nice
yes,
to see
yes,
like how you've traveled across so many countries. Yeah,
yes,
so many states in America too. Wow.
yes,
You
yeah,
touched
yeah.
upon some of the like issues you saw locally. Could you talk more about the notable climate issues that you face in Zimbabwe or like places you visited? And I guess you already talked about how the younger generation is tackling climate change through creative arts like dramas. That's so cool. But yeah, could you talk about the specific climate issues you guys face in Zimbabwe? Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, well, in Zimbabwe, because we are what we call, most of our communities rely on what is called rain-fed agriculture. Rain-fed agriculture, which means for to access food for household or home consumption, we grow a lot of corn as a staple, some kind of staple food. So in some seasons, we face droughts. We face a lot of droughts. We face a lot of food insecurity. We face a lot of water shortages. But so my role in those kind of challenges. And also there is the energy crisis as well, where communities have to rely on cutting down trees as a source of energy to try to get charcoal as a source of energy for cooking, for energy, and
Yeah.
so on. So there is a lot of cutting down of trees, and so what we need to do is then we need to seek for alternative sources of energy that don't damage the environment. So what I've been doing in terms of I've worked with as a researcher with organizations like Troke in Ireland, World Vision. I've worked with Plan International. I've also worked with some German organizations where, through my research, I advocate for policies. I advocate for action plans that, like for example, when we're dealing with food security issues, we advocate for finance, we advocate for technical support, where some communities get some solar panels. So what happens to those solar panels is that the solar panels not only reduce the reduction of trees, but they also are an alternative, what we call climate smart energy, where communities, because there's a lot of sun here, so the solar is a sort of resource that can
Yeah.
be used instead of cutting down trees. People
Hmm.
can use climate smart energy, and also it reduces what we call carbon footprint, where
Yes.
you don't have to rely on coal, which emits a lot of gas into the atmosphere, also contributing to negative climate change impacts. And so I've seen some organizations, some civic organization groups, some non-profit organizations installing some solar projects, some biogas stations, and through that, communities are not only able to deal with the energy challenge, but they are also able to draw water. You know, there are some pumps that use energy
Hmm.
from solar. They are able to get, so they are able to access water. They are able to do nutritional gardens. We call them nutritional gardens, where they are able to then get an access to food. They are able to get access to water, and through being able to produce their own food, they are able to have surplus money to pay for school fees and also to pay for hospital bills. So this is what we have been doing over the years with the various organizations, trying to deal, number one, with the water crisis, with the food crisis, also with the energy crisis, and also trying to do workshops and capacity buildings to say communities can act with the little resources that they have. Young people, I know young people these days are more technical. They are more into social media platforms, and we've been encouraging talks on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, you name it, where they can then have some awareness programs so that they can inspire others as well to identify problems in their locality and also try to act and involve as many stakeholders as they can to address that. So that is what I write about. And not only, I don't want to be theoretical, I want to be practical, I want to be hands-on, to say, we've found this research, what can we do practically on the ground? We may not totally eradicate the problems, but surely we can minimize them to a certain degree. So that is what we've been doing over time.
Wow. Yes, I've heard of some countries using like trees and like biofuels to fuel their cooking, their homes
Yes,
and stuff. So it's nice to see how you guys
yes,
are taking a similar approach, because solar energy is also a big talk here.
yes,
But especially like you said,
yes,
you guys
yes,
have a lot of sun compared to like other places, so it's nice to use that
yes,
to an advantage. Wow.
yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes.
Where I live, it's more like extreme weather is the bigger issue. Like we have a lot of storms. A couple weeks
Okay.
ago, I think like at least the northeast region of America, we faced like
Mhm.
very big like fluctuations in temperature. And like
Okay.
one day it was like very, very warm, and then the next day it was snowing. So we faced like a lot of those
Yes.
kind of issues. But yeah.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, so that's really quite interesting because, like you are saying, we have extreme weather patterns where in certain regions it's extremely hot, where in certain regions it becomes extremely cold,
Yes.
and in some cases in our country, for example, when it's not when the temperatures are high, there can be too much rains as well. We have had situations where there are floods, where rivers have a lot of water and they destroy infrastructure, they
Yeah.
destroy bridges, they destroy houses, they even kill people, they destroy livestock. And so we are now also thinking in terms of what is called, climate proof infrastructure, where we're advocating that the government should put more robust infrastructure so that people are not swept away, bridges which destroy commerce, which destroy business, which destroy mobility and movement are minimized during those kind of crises. So some of these challenges are specific to certain geographic spaces, and we're also dealing with issues to do with the I don't know what you call we have wetlands. Wetlands are a big issue in Africa where we're saying we should minimize construction on wetlands areas
Yeah.
because wetlands are a natural ecosystem that should be protected from we can't be having some construction, some buildings on wetlands because they are a source of, number one, tourism. So we are also into advocating for the protection of wetlands, that wetlands can be a source of tourist attraction. Wetlands can also be preserve ecosystem by diversity. You have your amphibians there, you have your frogs there, you have your birds there, you have your fish there. So those natural landscapes should not be disturbed. And also, wetlands are also sort of they are a natural purifier of water. They purify water. So if we destroy that, the underground water can be polluted or contaminated. And also, wetlands also serve to they serve to be natural what sponges. When there are a lot of water, they absorb excess water. So they should be left undisturbed. So those are some of the kind of activities over and above the energy issues that we're also concerned about preserving nature, preserving trees preserving the natural ecosystem, that there is minimal damage. I know there's a lot of industrialization, there's a lot of commercialization of natural resources, but we also need to maintain natural landscapes so that we are also protected from some of these natural disasters, from heat waves, from floods, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, wetlands are also crucial like in every country. Yeah, they provide so many ecological services and like you said, also tourism. So basically they cover like a whole variety of services and so they should definitely be protected like you said.
Yes, yes. Wow.
Um, like you've done a lot of research, like you said, like 30 something articles or yeah,
Yes,
research papers.
yes.
What are your favorite ones that you've completed, or what do you think was some of the most impactful ones that you've looked into, like subjects?
Okay. Okay. For me, it's in the area of agriculture, especially when I came into the US in 2022, where I met a lot of non-profit government, civic society groups, women's groups, youth groups, where I was in the US for about 2.5 months. And through that project on the Eisenhower Fellowship, I was able to advocate for biogas digesters for that services rural communities. So where I used to work 3 years ago, they are installing biogas digesters for cooking, where instead of cutting down trees, there is now a growing community. That is, so I consider that a success. And then it subsequently led to a conference that I attended somewhere in Kenya, which is called the Transforming Energy Access. So the Transforming Energy Access was funded by UK in United Kingdom in conjunction with South Africa. And it's an ongoing program where they are training students at university level to promote off-grid energy sources like biogas, like solar. The project started 3 years ago and it's ongoing. And I understand there is a rollout program that is actually funding that. There's also now government buy-in and also NGO support. So we're seeing a lot of biogas and solar and solar for households, for even for industries that are growing as a result of that project that we've been involved in. And also the Smithsonian Science Education, I must say, has really exposed me to when we talk of Catherine, when we talk of Khadija, part of the team in Washington, D.C. They've been really instrumental in creating platforms for me to interact with people like you. I've been able to attend conferences or physically, and I've been a scientist ambassador, and I've interacted with young people where I share my views, where I share my ideas. And so that has also enabled me to be visible in the international platform where we can share and interact with you guys through the Smithsonian Science Education. And so I'm excited about that. I've had several meetings online, and we're now working on a rollout program on science communication and outreach. So I'm now involved in the science education and outreach where we want to create. I've already created blocks. When I go to different geographic spaces, whether I'm in Zimbabwe, whether I'm in Germany, whether I'm in India, I'm able to capture myself and share the unique weather patterns in that particular area. But I want to go beyond that. I want to involve in what we call indigenous communities and also young people, where it's not my voice that is loud, but I also involve young people, and they do blogs, they do or TikTok presentations.
Yeah.
That is what I intend to do in future, where I involve them, because I believe young people should not only be informed. After they are informed, they should take action. And when they take action, they can be proud of themselves on the kind of transformation and the change that they are bringing. So I applaud the Smithsonian Science Education for giving me that opportunity to interact with young people, with other like-minded researchers, and also with the Global Young Academy. In the next 2 3 months, I'll be in Bremen, Germany. I think this will be my third visit, where I'll be talking about the political ecology of of food systems within the agroecological region of one of the districts in Zimbabwe, in Chimanimani. So I get platforms to talk, I get platforms to advise, and I also get invitations as well, whether online, like you've invited me, or physically, where I believe in networking, I believe in partnerships. I don't believe in one or two interactions, but I believe our interaction should produce something solid. It should produce solutions. It should produce answers to the challenges that we experience. So at the moment, I just got an email yesterday from Williams, who I was actually editing the upcoming Smithsonian Science Education Guide on Agriculture. I will also be featuring there. So I believe in relationships that last, where we can just get together, share information on how we can make our world better in a changing environment. Yeah.
Wow. Like everything you've done is so like connected and your journey is just so inspiring. And that piece of advice that you gave about how like action is what really matters, is that like a big piece of advice you would give, like instead of just like talking, like advocating is good, but we should be doing like hands-on action and like planting trees, like planting gardens. Is that like something that you really stand for? Or is that something you would like to see more in the future?
Yes, yes, precisely. You know what? It's not enough just to be informed about the problems that climate change do about it, but it should be an introspection to say, okay, I've noted the challenges, I've noted the problems. What can I do about it? You know, young people are intelligent, young people are energetic, young people are visionaries. They can come up with ideas that are even better than mine in terms of tackling climate change. So after we are made aware of these challenges, you need to look at your surrounding. What can I do to be a change agent? What can I do? What I call climate heroes, or what others will call, in your own space, you should become a climate detective to say, okay, this is the challenge. Let me link up with my friends in class. Let me link up with my teacher. Let me link up with interesting groups to say, let's plant trees. If in your area there is need for trees, let's do a cleanup campaign. If there is need, maybe to recycle some material so that our rivers, our dams are less polluted, or maybe we can have some advocacy group where we can communicate online and do some blogs, we can also do some climate cafeteria where we can have some information desk and share, depending on the weather, depending on the time available at school. There are so many ideas that we can explore to make our environment better. So for young people, I would really say, get in, get involved, be informed. When you are informed, have action plans, have timelines, gather resources, gather networks, partnership, collaboration to say, what can we do to change our place and make it better, even though there are some things that we can avoid, but we can actually bring our minds together and change the world together.
Yes, so getting involved is top priority, especially as you said, for the next generations to come. Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you to Dr. Phiri for joining Climate Conversations today. Everything you talked about was incredibly insightful, And I feel really motivated right now. And
Okay.
everything you said again is really impactful. And thank you so much for joining me today.
Okay. You're welcome, Kathy. You're welcome. Thank you. It's an honor and a privilege to talk with you.
Thanks.